Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I'm Jake, you, Alex. Thanks again for joining us, guys. We're wrapping up the show today. We're going to do a little buy or sell. NFL trade deadline is expected to be kind of popping this year, which I'm all for. I actually like when the NFL has trades and things are going crazy. We saw last night Frank Clark cut by the Broncos. He's definitely somebody the Falcons could have their eyes on. So I guess now that he's not a trade candidate anymore, we'll start with him. I'm absolutely buying this. I'm sure he's getting a lot of attention around the league. And the Falcons, they're a team that they could add like one elite pass rusher, somebody that can really get home with as much pressure as they create, and they're going to be really dangerous on defense. I'm buying Frank Clark.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it because I do think you're on the right track, but I just think Frank Clark is kind of more of a rotational guy. Not that we need, a guy who's going to play 1,000 snaps, but we need a more high-end pass rusher because we have like Frank Clark is still a very good, very productive football player. He's going to make a team very happy. I guarantee it. He's going to join a contender. There's no doubt about that. But I just think the Falcons need a little bit better, a little bit higher end pass rusher because the interior, we already know. David Onyemata and Grady Jarrett are playing like the best tandem in the league right now. There's no doubt about that. The edge leaves something to be desired, which is why I think, somebody like, I don't know, I'll throw a couple names. You can tell me buy, sell. Danielle Hunter, everybody's been talking about Chase Young. Everybody's been talking about Carl Lawson. Those three guys right there. We'll go through each one buy or sell. Those three guys are the ones I'm looking at because they provide a little bit more than Frank Clark does today. But in terms of realistic, I don't know. What do you think? I'm
going to sell Danielle Hunter and Chase Young. I don't think either of those are going to be super realistic options. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Carl Lawson, too, is another one. I just feel like the Jets are probably going to be a little gun shy, too, now just because they just lost Aaron Rodgers injury-wise. You don't want to have to get ready if you stay ready. He has been a healthy scratch for them a few times, but I feel like he's somebody they'll just hang on to. I don't know. Maybe Danielle Hunter, but the Vikings, too, they're just in such a weird spot. I mean, they may try to re-up and go for it again, but who knows?
Who knows with the Vikings, but let's give some context. They're 1-4. Justin Jefferson's out for the next 4 weeks. Trade deadline is in about 2 weeks. It's October 31st, a spooky trade deadline. Vikings lose a couple. Kirk Cousins is testing free agency this summer. I think that it is possible that they were hesitant to give Danielle Hunter a big deal last offseason. I don't expect them to give him the payday that he's wanting this offseason. I think the Falcons could potentially, it's a lot of investment along the defensive line, but where else would you rather have it? Danielle Hunter is a game wrecker. If there's one place that this Falcons defense can get a little bit better and then it has a dramatic impact, it's that dominant edge rusher. It would set this defense squarely in the top 5 conversation. Danielle Hunter's that guy. If it's realistic or not, probably not too realistic. I'm buying the scenario, but I'm selling the actual likelihood. I think that you nailed it. Frank Clark's the most likely guy, but does he really give you that much more than, say, a Bud Dupree? I don't know.
Exactly. Like we're talking about lateral moves there. And I do think Chase Young is one, too. They're just not going to move him. They'll probably end up re-signing him to some contract he doesn't deserve. He won't live up to it. Like, that just kind of feels like the scenario that's going to play out there. I don't have any other
I'll talk about Chase Young a little bit more
for
a second. I don't know if they are definitely waiting to see what kind of player he is. And he's off to the best start of any season thus far. What I do have questions about is they have invested heavily financially in their defensive line. Do they really want to allocate probably close to 30 or 40% of their payroll to their defensive line? I'm not exactly sure. I think that he might walk. And if the Commanders keep losing, that's the thing. These teams have to lose and have to be okay with selling. And a lot of NFL teams are not. That's why there's not a lot of movement around the trade deadline. So I think the Commanders are a competitive team. Ron Rivera is not going to give up. So
I think this is a good conversation, though. I'm sure it's something we're going to talk about a lot leading up to the trade deadline. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We will be back with you on Monday.
Nice show. Nice show, Jake. Hey, buddy, go celebrate.